Hello, Stefan, and hello, everyone watching. We are ready for the next presentation, where we will receive a presentation from Stefan Persson, CEO of the company Precis Biometrics. And I guess you will be talking a little bit more than only about biometrics, but leaving it over to you, and we'll have some interesting questions for you as soon as you are done. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Anders. So let's see if the presentation is running. Yes, so my name is Stefan Persson, and I'm the CEO for Precis Biometrics now since 3 years ago. This journey here started 3 years ago when we started to move from a technology-driven company to a company that was addressing end consumer and people out there in the daily life. So how to utilize our technology to get a better and safer and more convenient life every day. And by that time we introduced also "You are the key." So that's our slogan now. We have trademarked it and we communicate that in all different social media and all different marketing activities. Today we are 50 people. We were founded in 1997. We are more or less covering the whole world. We have offices in Shanghai, Lund and Potsdam. Today we have 2 different business units. We have the previous Algo based on the fingerprint sensor, and we have the digital identity, which is the new one now since 2 years ago. We are on a small cap, approximately 400 million in value. When we started the journey here 3 years ago, we had a sales of approximately 60 million. We started with efficiency, with focusing on the right customer in the Algo area, and we have been growing since that, and now we are a little bit less than 100 million. And this journey have just started. 3 years ago also we started investment in DI. So what we have decided now is that we take all the cash we generate in the Algo business from the healthy Algo and move that into the DI because they have a growth potential which is really huge, and I will come back to that later. And due to our reputation in the market with the quality and all that, we actually have a very, very good situation to move forward both in Algo and the digital identity area. We are working today with really large players like Qualcomm, BOE, Galaxy Core, TDK in the Algo area. So if you're utilizing a phone, an Android phone, it's most probably our fingerprint Algo that is opening up the applications in the phone. Since we entered the DI area, we have now been able to integrate and cooperate with really large players here like Bravida, Sabloy, and RCO. So we are actually one of the companies that have most cooperation with really key players, and I will come back to that later also. In the enterprise area, we're working with big companies like Bloomberg, Samsung, Hyundai for car, for instance, which is a very interesting applications going forward. There are more and more of both payment and personal settings will be based on your biometrics, and Algeco, and now recently also Yubico. As I said earlier, we're covering more or less the whole globe. We have a sales rep in Taiwan, Korea, and in Shanghai we are handling all the Algo business with the customer in China, Taiwan, and Korea. In Lund we have the main development site with the product management and staff functions, and then in US we are taking care of the US market and some development also. Very experienced management. Recently, Annika Frey joined us from Axis as the CFO. Tom Surberg is our CTO with a huge experience both in hardware and software from Husqvarna, Ericsson, Sony Ericsson, and Bang & Olufsen. And Fredrik Sjöholm is heading up the sales with a lot of experience of selling software with different companies. Board of directors here, very good support here from Torgny Hellström, chairman, also chairman in Starbreeze. Torbjörn Clements, previous working as CFO for many companies on stock exchange markets. Sydney, previous CEO for SE Banking Card, and Mats Lindorff, a lot of experience in the CTO area, and now recently also is a part of the board with a very good experience in cybersecurity, which is needed now when we're entering the DI area. The journey started 3 years ago when we established a digital identity. We took experience from our biometrics, combined that with new employees in the cloud areas, and then we built the unique product that have been now out for 2 years' time. It's very stable. We get more and more customer every week, so we are now into an acceleration of the unique. And we started to look into opportunity for acquisitions also, to see if we can add more technology or add market or add different customer into our portfolio to even further and faster grow the company. The product as such for DI is very simple. This is the only digital end-to-end solution that's available in the market. So via a very simple link from the administrator, you take a selfie on the phone or on the mobile. Via our cloud solution, we send that to the on-prem access area. And that loop from you take the selfie to you can open up the door takes only 30 seconds. And when you're entering the application or the door, then it will automatically inform the administrator that you have now entered the facilities. One of our largest customer is Algeco. Algeco have temporary space buildings up north, very close to Northvolt, where there are approximately 1,000 workers. In the past, they have opened up the facility and where they're living with keys and cars, with a lot of hassle and a lot of problems, but due to the fact that installed a unique product now, everything can be handled via our system. And I will show you a short video here to see how it works. So this is the Skellefteå site with a lot of facilities, and here you have one worker coming, and he have done the enrollment, and he opened up the front door with his face algorithm. And there you get the green light and means the door is opening. He then go to the corridor where he has his room where he's living. And when he's entering the corridor, there's a new camera. And then you get the match with the biometrics, and which means that his door is now open. And this also means that you have automatic check-in, you have automatic check-out. So instead of a lot of people working to handle keys, cards, and codes, you can now actually handle this with the unique system on distance. So we have the digital onboarding tool, we have the cloud experience that we have developed, which means that we can send your credential all over the world, and we have done the physical access. Next step now is to integrate this with an eID platform. In Sweden we have BankID, Freja eID and all this. And we have done that, then suddenly we have the opportunity to address even a bigger market out there. One example can be, for instance, the hospital. Today there is a lot of card, keys, codes for the people who's working at the hospital, but if you utilizing our system, you're utilizing your biometrics to enter the building, you have access to the different department that you should have access. You open up your different applications on the computers with the biometrics, and then you can open up the cabin where you store the medical, and only the one who have access to the cabin can open up, because normally there's a lot of problem with people who stealing medical there, and that is gone with our system. We are running that pilot right now in Region Skåne. Of course, long lead time before implementation, but it works perfectly. The addressable market for this type of product when it comes to access is more than 2.5 billion just in Nordic. And we started now in Sweden. We have more than 60 installations in Sweden where the addressable market is more than 1 billion SEK. There are different verticals, and the most interesting vertical as we see right now is the industrial and commercial building, but we have also installed a product in other applications like apartments, block, constructions, and gym. As I said, we started here 2019. The first pilot was made end of 2019. The first customer was Exeger in Stockholm, to protect their production, to make sure that no one that was not allowed to come in that came in. Directly after that, Friskis and Svettis installed that, which means that out of normal working hours, now you can go to Friskis and Svettis and train there if you're allowed to access it. As I said earlier, one of our largest customer, Algeco, then joined the program, and now today we have a lot of installations in Sweden, and actually we have started to have the first installation in Norway and Germany also as an upsale. One example there is, for instance, Railers. They have now installed a system in Gothenburg. They're now looking into do that in Stockholm and Malmö, and they have more than 50 facilities in Sweden where they're looking into utilize this. Even Spotify using it. Some people don't want to leave the car when they are parked the car in the garage, so they're just looking into the camera and then the door is opening up here. One important part when it comes to growth here is to have the foundation when it comes to partnership. And we started already in the beginning to make sure that this works with already existing platforms and systems out there. So we are now integrated with RCO, Assa Arx, Bravida, Tidomat, Genetec, S2, Lenel, and Telcred, which means that we are more or less covering the whole existing system base in Sweden, where you can do upsell with our system. Another thing that is important is the distributor, where we have contract with Hatteland, Elektroskandia, and Kopiax, which means that our system is available out there when there is sales ongoing. Another thing is that we have a very small sales force, and we then need to have contract with the installers, which are meeting our customers every day. So we have more than 60 installers now, like Satego, Elio, and Great Security, that are selling our products. Then, of course, we're focusing on the biometrics, we're focusing on the cloud distribution and the SaaS model as we're selling this as a service. But then there are other type of technology that we have partnership with, like Axis and Hanba for the cameras. We have Simon Voss for door locks, etc. And that is something ongoing and will continue. And it's really important for the growth opportunity for the company. Of course, there are competitors. There is no major competitor in Nordics yet. All the competitors, like there are some large, of course, like Suprema and Idemia. They are handling both hardware and software. We are focusing on the software only. We are hardware agnostic, which is an extremely strong message to the market. There is no one that have this digital end-to-end solution, which means that you need to enroll locally when you're utilizing any of the competitor solution out there today. So the market is huge. There is no one that have been able to develop it in the way we have done it yet. Of course, that will come. It's healthy with the competition, but as it is right now, we are in the front lead of the product as it is right now. We are moving the company from a traditional biometric company where we were selling the software to the sensor suppliers that then later was selling to Samsung, Oppo, Vivo. That is, of course, the majority of our sales today, but we are accelerating the DI, the SaaS, and the ARR, the annual revenue, recurrent revenue, which means that we will be a total different company down the road. That is, of course, very interesting from the value of the company point of view, and the journey there have just started. So there is a huge opportunity to be part of this journey if you're interested, of course. So we have a very good background in terms of the technology, in terms of the biometrics understanding. We can see the biometrics now is the interest and understanding about together with the digitalization is increasing every day. The journey has just started there, and there will be a lot of opportunity. And the reason for that is, of course, ease of use. You don't need to bring any cards, remember PIN codes or any tags. You don't need to even bring your mobile phone. You just come as you are and utilizing your biometrics to enter a facility or any other applications. And it's really high security because you can't copy the biometrics. You can always copy a PIN code and a card. So there's a good trend in the market right now where we have a very, very interesting position. And together with our reputation in the market, together with all the good things we have done so far, we now can see that we started to accelerate the digital identity. And we will continue to do that. We will continue to look into the opportunity to acquire a company in the technical area or in area with interesting customer or interesting market. So that journey have just started. By that, I hand over to you again, Anders, I think.
Perfect. Thank you very much for a great presentation. And one question that came into my mind, at least, when you said that this is more secure with biometrics, come as you are. What happens if you have a very identical evil twin?
Well, that's of course that can be a problem if it's a very evil twin, but then you should add more biometrics. So what we have done, for instance, we have the solution implemented at the nuclear plant in Oskarshamn, where you combine different type of biometrics. You can always step up the modality, and by that increase the security. So if you have a solution to just bring out your bicycle, then you keep it on a very low security, because it maybe doesn't matter if the twin takes the bicycle. But if you're going to enter the nuclear plant, then you add everything, because then you will really want to have high security. So there is solution for that applications also.
Great answer. So multi-level security is what we're hearing, and keeping evil twins out. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Another question that we will need to step into when it comes to this area as well. Let's see if this this might be a repeating of other questions, but there is a shortage in the world of components. How has this affected you and the third quarter, which you just recently released?
Yeah, it was affected direct and indirect. Indirect via our customer and partners in the algo area that have problem to deliver to the OEM and the mobile phones. But we have seen, and we hope that the bottom was now in Q3. We see a good trend here in the beginning of Q4. So hopefully that was the bottleneck. We could see that directly also when it comes to DI, because computers and all that you utilize when you install our system, there was lead time up to 26 weeks. That is down now to in the area of 12 weeks, which means that we have a pretty good momentum right now, which means that our installers and distributors can do the installation of the system. So we are in a good trend, I would say. But let's see when we're ending the quarter where we will be.
All right. So good trend. And speaking about positive trends, growth areas going forward, would you just elaborate on that? And also, when it comes to digital identity, what value will that create for the company? And what does it mean for the business model in the future? So it's a 3-level high security question.
Yeah, so the growth is especially in the DI, and it's a huge opportunity there to growth. I mean, addressable market is just enormous in Sweden and Nordic. The company will be larger than it is today just to address the Swedish market in this area. So there is a huge opportunity there. And the base of the product is there. We are utilizing the SaaS model, software as a service. We have direct contact with the end customer. We have long contract. We always sign contract 3 years, and then it's continue. Actually, the churn rate is 0 today, which means that the one that have installed it, use it, are really satisfied, and we see upsells, which is absolutely not normal in this industry. When you enter the new product into a market, you always have problem, but we have more or less 0 problem, and all customers are happy and want to increase it. So there is a huge opportunity to growth in digital identity. When it comes to the algo area, it's a solid base now. We have a very nice margin, a very good cash flow that we have decided the last 2 years to actually utilize the cash to develop and invest in DI. So that is the situation right now, and we have huge hope in the future to look into other opportunities also to look into acquire companies in the digital identity area to accelerate the business even faster and further compared to today. Excellent.
Thank you very much. And it was a multi-layered question. So just repeating, you have a great foundation with cash flow. You are focusing on the ID in the future. That will mean a SaaS model, and there might be M&A attached to this strategy going forward. So last question before we're leaving you is actually regarding, you are looking for a new CEO of Precis, and I'm talking with the CEO of Precis. So what kind of candidate are you looking for?
So I'm part of that process, and it's very clear that the strategy is set and is fully aligned between the board of directors and the management. And what we are looking for right now is a person who can take the next step when it comes to acceleration of DI. We need to have a person that is open-minded so we can continue with the agile way of working. Of course, if the person have been involved in this type of business before when it comes to SaaS and selling software as a service would be really great. Then in the end, it's of course the board of directors' responsibility to hire the person. But I'm fully supportive and I'm part of that process, and I will be in the company until end of March. So we have strong hope. The foundation is there. We have done a good job, but now it's to take the next step and accelerate that.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And it's unfortunate we don't have a link down here where you could apply to the job, but anyhow, we'll fix that for the next round. Thank you very much for the presentation, and we'll be back shortly with the next one.